Hey guys, on today's show, I want to discuss storm preparedness and ham radio. Now that can mean hurricane season. It can mean just big storms that come and hit an area around the country where you live. It can be if you live up in the tornado belt, whatever it is. We're going to discuss that today, right here, right now on Ham Radio for Non-Techies. All right, guys, so welcome back. My name is Scott. My call sign is KI5NPL, and I run the Ham Radio for Non-Techies channel. If it's your first time here, please, I welcome you here to the channel. We discuss ham radio-related topics, but I try to break down the lingo of ham radio that might be a little too technical for new people and try to explain it in more layman terms. And we cover lots of different topics on this channel, so I try to get a lot of stuff in there. But today we're going to discuss storm preparedness, and I'm going to go into a couple other things that are not related to ham radio, but do include storm preparedness. But most we're going to talk about, ham radio, what equipment do you want, what kind of things you'd be looking for, this and that. So without further ado, let's head over to my desktop and let's check this out and get this party started. All right, guys, so we're going to discuss storm preparedness and ham radio. Now, here in Texas, we have to deal with hurricanes, floods, sometimes tornadoes, depending on how far north you are. Occasionally, there's an earthquake, but that doesn't really happen. That's more of the West Coast fun there. But, what kind of things would you want to have for an emergency situation or in case a storm's coming? What kind of preparedness things do you want to have? What kind of radios you want to have, how you're going to power these things. We're going to discuss all that right here. So let's move on to the next slide. So how can you get involved? Well, if you are up for it, there are two big organizations. There's actually three, but I got two listed here. You can join ARES or you can join RACES, and that is how they're pronounced. Both these organizations are for emergency communications during times of storms, disasters, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So you can go into these sites. I'll have the links to this all down below, and you can check those out. This is mainly for you new hams. You've been in ham radio for a while. You're aware of these organizations, know what they do and what they're for. Both organizations do require some training, possibly exams to get certified, and possible DHS, Department of Homeland Security background checks, as you will be working with government officials and other people in an official capacity during times of disasters. So who would this really be good for? I personally, and everybody's got their opinion. Again, this is just my opinion. Who would this be good for? People that are single. If you're single and you want to help out your community, you can jump in and do this, because I would assume that most people that have families want to be home with their families. Depending on what the severity of a storm would determine whether you'd be able to leave your house, because you might be gone for a couple days, you might be gone for a week, you might be sent off to another location, depending on what these guys need for communications assistance. So I would say single people with no family or couples that want to help out the community, they're probably in kind of the same situation, don't have kids and pets and stuff to have to take care of at home. But I mean, anybody can get in on this, and it's good to have under your belt if you want to learn this stuff. There's also, I think it's called Storm Warn or Storm Watch or something. I have to look it up. You can Google it. Use one of your free Google searches, like I tell all my students. There's a thing called Storm Warn, I believe it's called, where you can get involved with like storm chasing and reporting tornadoes or big weather events and bring it back over to the different officials that need to have the information, blah, blah, blah. So that's one way you can get involved. But I want to discuss more on personal preparedness and what you do and don't want to do. So let's jump on to the next slide. When is the best time to prepare? Well, the best time to prepare is now, now, now. There's nothing going on in your area, hopefully, and you're just kind of sitting around waiting for a storm to happen. Now's the best time to get off your duff and start doing something. So if you got a little extra cash to do things, now's the time to get the supplies and stuff you need, start getting up your equipment. If you wait until the last minute, like I say here, waiting until a week before a storm or a couple days before a storm hits is just stupid. Don't be that guy. In my area here, or just around Houston in general, the news gets on and does their best to scare the complete crap out of people by telling them there's this big storm coming, it's going to kill everybody. Well, the people out there, the lemmings, hear this. They instantly go into panic mode. They hit the stores and wipe everything out. I sit back in my house and I laugh, because if you had done this stuff before, waiting until the last minute, if you'd done this stuff before, you could be kicking back instead of fighting and sitting in lines and bread lines and all this other stuff trying to get the supplies you think you need, or overbuying stuff and not letting other people have stuff. So you should have these things ahead of time. Quick fun fact. Stores only carry about 72 hours worth of food and supplies in their stores at any given time. Now you're sleeping at night. They got their stock trucks come in and restock, and you wake up, go back up to your grocery store the next day, and magically all the shelves are completely restocked again. Well, if in a panic time, you're going to see more stuff like you see here, where the shelves are getting barren because people are going in and they're pillaging and they're grabbing everything they can. They're grabbing 85 loaves of bread, even though they're never going to eat it all. Or like last year, we had that big freeze out here. Or no. So let's take the pandemic. Everybody went to the pandemic, right? During the pandemic, couldn't buy toilet paper. People went off and bought 100,000 rolls of toilet paper. Why? You know? So people freak out. So get your supplies up now. Get the stuff you need now and buy it at your leisure when you're not sitting in these lines and fighting for things, and you'll do yourself a lot better. You'll be a lot better off. Now, my other personal opinion is you should always have at least a couple weeks worth of food, non-perishable, stored for emergencies. You can have some perishable stuff, then you have to remember to rotate that stuff out as you use it throughout the year and just replenish it as you use it, right? And I know some people live in apartments, don't have a whole lot of space. Look, when I had my condo a few years ago, we had one of the closets in one of the spare bedrooms was nothing but supplies of food. And we went down and bought a bunch of those Homer buckets from Home Depot. And we bought some Mylar bags. We bought, rice. We bought salt. We bought sugar. We bought all kinds of, things. You don't buy things you won't actually eat. That's a waste of money and a waste of your time. So we bought non-perishable stuff that had really good shelf life, required minimal supplies to cook or to feed ourselves in the event that we needed these things. So we kept buckets upon buckets upon buckets and stacked them all up in this closet. We had about, 2 or 3 weeks worth of food, and you can always go out. You can get MREs. You can go up to your Army surplus stores. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy them anywhere. Look up MREs, meals ready to eat. You can have them. They're not the greatest thing in the world, but it's better than eating grass. So, have some stuff available. You can make room, all right? Nobody lives in just a one-bedroom closet where you have nothing else. You can put stuff anywhere. You can find place to put things. Be creative with it. Because at the time when you need it, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, right? So what kind of supplies am I looking at? Okay, well, food, water storage, some empty bottles. Go pick up some plastic bottles. Any place in town you can get 1 gallon, 2 gallon plastic bottles. I think you can go pick up the little 5 gallon bottles of water over at your any grocery store. Have a couple of those around just in case the water gets shut off or it's contaminated or something goes wrong. You want to have those things. You can live a week without food. You can only live about 48 to 72 hours without water. So keep that in mind. So water storage, ways to make water, maybe ways to purify water if you have a way to, if your water does get contaminated, have a way to do that. Med supplies, if you have personal medications you need to have, make sure you got those. General medical supplies, Band-Aids, suture kits, all kinds of stuff you need in case of emergencies, cuts, bruises, broken bones, whatever. You don't know what's going to come flying through your way. If you're in Tornado Alley, you're not going to know, what to do if a branch comes flying through and takes your arm and breaks your arm or something, right? So have some things based on your needs for where you live. Batteries. Got to have batteries. It's never a bad thing. You can go to Home Depot, and that's the best place to go right now to get batteries. AA, AAA, and 9 volts. You can get like 36 packs, $15. And that'll power most of your flashlights, most of your little transistor radios, little things you need. Just, again, go find what you have available and what you need and go get these things. I'm not saying stock up 75 packs of these batteries and stuff, but get 1 or 2 to help you because you're going to use them either way. You're going to use them throughout the year or you're going to need them during an emergency. Again, better to have it. Light sources, again, flashlights, solar flashlights, those little lanterns you pull up and they light up. LED, anything LED you want to have. LED lasts longer. It might not be as bright sometimes as the halogens, but they use a lot less power for battery. It gives you a lot more power or more battery life when you use LEDs. So keep those in mind. Heating sources. If you're up in an area where it gets really cold and or if you want to find a way to heat your food, have heating sources. You have a little tiny portable grill and some charcoal. That'd be a good thing to have. Heating sources, those little portable fire pits. If you need to go outside and stay warm or something like that, or find different things for heat sources, whether it be for personal heat or for cooking your food. I have candy on here, and some of you going, why in the hell does he have candy on there? All right, candy, whether it be like little butterscotches, little peppermints, whatever, having that in your mouth. I've read studies on this. People that are away, soldiers that are away from home, working in the sandbox and doing stuff for many, many months on end, a little piece of candy kind of makes you feel at home. It kind of calms your nerves a little bit. So having a little bit of candy here and there might help. If you have children, because kids aren't going to understand what's going on. They're not going to understand the sacrifices they're going to have to make because the power's gone, Xbox is gone, there is no internet, can't jump on Discord and Twitch. So you got to give them something else to kind of help them out and help them keep their mental facilities intact. So candy's a good thing, never hurts. I suggest like little hard candies. Of course, the main topic here is going to be radios, whether that be shortwave radios for listening or having a set of comms like some ham radios, and of course you have to be licensed, and having those ready to go so you can utilize those for your information intake and stuff. If you have pets, make sure you have extra pet food. Of course, gas, extra gas. You're running a generator, maybe pick up some 4 or 5 gallon gas cans, have those stored in your garage or somewhere safe where they're not going to be an explosion hazard or fire hazard. Because if you're going to be running generators, you're going to be filling those things up, and during hurricanes and storms, gas stations run out, or they close down, or they start jacking up their prices. So you got to think outside the box for a lot of this stuff. Don't get caught with your pants down, going, "Well, I wish I had this." Go get it now. And the last thing I want to touch on very lightly, because I want to get demonetized, is family defense items. Use your imagination. In case of looters or just general defense of your home. If you're staying home, or if you're going to, say you have to bug out and go somewhere and stay up somewhere else, you're in a new area of town, you want to have some way to protect yourself. And, that's, again, your personal preference, what you have, what your budget allows for, and what you have the training for. All right, back to ham radio. That's my spiel on the on preparedness stuff. There's a lot more stuff you can go think about, but look it up, and I'm going to show you some cool resources at the end of this presentation. But what ham radio equipment would you need? Well, I would suggest obviously having radios, antennas, and a way to power all this stuff. So for radios, I'd say handhelds. I've got my Wushuns, which are great. I've got extra batteries for these, and these are really cheap. If you get one of these Wushun radios, the battery's about $25, $28. Get a couple of those. Have these already charged. That way, if power goes out, you have no other way of charging. You can still use these and have these extra ones to keep your radios going, keep the communications going. I've also got my Yaesu FT3DR. I don't have extra batteries for this because unfortunately they're $90 a pop. So this might be something I'd use just for the reliability of it, but I'd probably use these more for carrying around. If I use them a lot, if I use my radios a lot and don't have a way to recharge, I'd be using these. So keep those in mind. So Yaesu, Wushun, Kenwood, etc., whatever you've got available to you, whatever you can afford, I'd grab some handhelds. They're gonna be good for being mobile. If you have to leave your house somewhere, you have to get out somewhere out in the crap and doing stuff, you have to be able to have a way to talk to people. Another thing would be mobile rigs. Again, I'm biased. I got my FTM 400 XDR in my truck. It's got its own power supply through the truck's battery and generator and everything. And I have a good antenna on there. I can reach through. It does, 2 meter and 440. So I have that as a backup. If I had to get out somewhere, if I had to be out in my vehicle for some stupid reason, out in the middle of a storm or during a flood, I can get out there and I can still communicate with people around. And it's got a pretty good reach because my area does have a repeater. Next would be like mobile base stations, the 991 Alpha, the Yaesu 991. The IC7100 is an all-band VHF, UHF, HF radio. It's portable. You have it as a base station, put it in your truck, throw it in a backpack, throw up an antenna, you're on the air. So these are things I would definitely consider as far as radios. Antennas. You got VHF and UHF is mostly what you're going to probably be using. And we're going to get more into that here in a second. HF be a nice addition if you want to reach outside of your state. Say there's a massive thing going on, you want to reach outside your state and maybe get information or pass on information. That'd be a good thing to have is HF antennas and an HF rig, obviously. But VHF, UHF is most likely what you're going to be using. Extra coax cable, just in case. Never hurts to have more. It's not that expensive. Get it, wrap it up, throw it in Ziploc bags, have it ready to go. So now we come to power. Are you going to be running everything on batteries? You're going to be running them plugged in the wall until the power goes out? Most likely. You're most likely going to have everything plugged in. Life's going to be normal until it's not, right? So if the power runs out and you still want to say all you have is a 991, you have a Yaesu 991, nothing else. How are you going to power that thing? Well, a couple weeks ago, I did a video showing you my Bioenno power pack where I got the 100-watt solar panels. I got a 15 amp hour battery, and I got the solar charger, or the solar charger thing. It's a little box that regulates everything. So if you're going to do something like that, it'll give you some time on. You won't be able to keep it on all the time because it's going to suck up a lot of power. So you want to consider what you're going to use to power your radios, how you're going to keep power consistently, and you want clean power. I wouldn't just plug your radio right into a generator and hope that it doesn't trash your $1,000 investment. So think about how you're going to charge things up. Have extra batteries available. Like I said, for my HTs, I have extra batteries. If you're going to be going the route of running a mobile rig or even one of these base stations, maybe pick up a couple 15 amp or 20 amp hour batteries. Just have them on hand. One charging, one being in use. So you can always switch them out immediately. And having solar. Having solar is never a bad thing. There's lots of other options out there. I went with Bioenno because my budget allowed for that. There are other things out there you can get that'll be good and that will work. So you want to do whatever you can to have some kind of power. So get some solar panels if you can. You might find a break in the storm. You can pop them out there real quick, do a little bit of a charge, and just keep your stuff going. Generators. If you're going to have a generator, I don't know whether you're going to be just, if you got a really good budget and you go out there and get one of those big Generac generators, the whole house generator hooks through gas line, everything like that. Those are fantastic. If you got that, hats off to you. But for the rest of us that might not, if you're using some kind of a gas-powered generator, you might want to consider maybe some kind of a power filter, something to provide clean power into your radio equipment. So again, you don't have spikes or anything that might screw it up or mess with something. So next, in a local emergency, what bands would you use? Well, like I said, most likely you'll probably be using VHF, UHF. You stick with local area stuff, because that's where all the other ham radio operators will be in the same boat as you, are going to be probably transmitting on and trying to get information or pass information on to. Now, if the repeaters in your area are available, that'd be the best way for you to communicate. However, if they crash, fail, or lose power, then simplex will be your best bet. In order to get the most out of simplex, you want your antennas up as high as you can get them. I'd say about 20 feet minimum, higher if you can. And this also depends on your area and your situation. Where I am in a suburban neighborhood, I got houses and trees and crap everywhere. I got my radio. This is a picture of my antenna here, up 20 feet up in the air. Which brings me to another point here. Instead of spending a lot of money on big masts, if you go to Home Depot and go back into the fencing section, if you're familiar with chain link fences, they have those horizontal bars across the top. They're about 10 feet long each. Home Depot has them right now for about $12. They have a recessed section so they fit together and lock in. Well, I bought 2 of those the other day, and that's what you see here on my antenna. I've got that jacked up into the air. I got a little offset mount that goes on the eaves of my rooftop, and I got that holding it up, and I got a spike in the ground that pole is sitting on, and it's completely non-mobile. It won't move. It's not going anywhere. It's windproof, everything else. For added security, I bought a couple self-driving self-tapping screws. And I put a self-tapping screw in between where the two pieces join just to lock them in. Then I just ran my antenna up the top, ran the cable down the bottom, and over back to my shack. So yeah, so having your antenna up nice and high is going to be a good plan. Remember, simplex is line of sight. Now, I had this originally up only about 10 feet. I just had one pole up here until the other day when I put the second one up. And just having the one pole, I was able to reach people about 3 or 4 miles, 5 miles away that was, pretty clear. But, it depends on what you're running. At that point, power is going to come into play. Running on 5 watts, maybe not. Running on 50 watts, you're probably going to be okay. So keep that stuff in mind as well. Having your antenna up there, $20 for a 20-foot pole, dollar a foot, guys. Not a hard math problem to think about. Again, HF will be good for longer distances if you need to get information outside of your area or relay messages in other parts of the country. So if you're really have a bad disaster and everything's just really trashed and messed up, you want to be able to reach people in other states, HF would then be your friend. You can set up a simple antenna to start reach people on HF. I did remember a couple years, it wasn't the last big hurricane we had here. That was Harvey. That was pretty bad. People had like 11 feet of water in their houses. The freeways, underpasses had filled up past the 28 feet and got above that another 11 feet. And there were guys out here from the Louisiana group of guys have a bunch of boats. They're out there in boats going down the freeway in these big boats you see like in the Everglades. So that was kind of interesting. But during that hurricane and a couple years back, we had another one called Ike. When Ike hit, we lost power for 16 days in the summer, in the Texas summer. That was you get it. All right. I don't have to say what I'm thinking here. That sucked. There's only so much you can do to stay cool. There was no power. We were still prepared for it. We still had a lot of preparation going back then, so we were okay. It was just miserable because we didn't have anything. We had a couple battery-operated fans, but we didn't really stock up on the batteries, and blowing hot air on yourself isn't really, it's just kind of self-defeating. But we went through that whole thing, and during that, I grabbed a pen and paper since I had plenty of time and sat down and wrote all the things I wish I had at that moment. And from that list, we went back once the power came back on, life normalized a little bit. I went back out and started slowly accumulating all these items that I had written down that list over the years. And now we've got a pretty decent stock of what we need, and it takes care of me, my family, maybe one or two. We bought a little extra stuff in case a couple neighbors and some friends had hard times, helped them out a little bit. Try and do what we can. I can't feed the world, not here to feed the world, but that's do what I can. Okay, so you're prepared. What info are you going to want to know? Why would you want to have the ham radio? What's it going to be? What's the use of ham radio? Why would I spend all this money on ham radio when I got food and med supplies and water and pet food and all this stuff you need to have? Well, first of all, you're going to want to get information. The information you're going to want to get is going to be road conditions. What are the road conditions around your area? If you have bridges, did a bridge get washed out? Is it a death trap? You want to find out about road conditions. Store closures, store openings. What stores are open in your area? What stores are closed? Do they have huge lines of people out there? Are there riots going on? You want to know these things before you step out of your house. Fuel reports. Again, gas stations. At least some of the people out here that run the gas stations are kind of SOBs. And they'll jack up the prices, or they'll just, they'll do something that's not beneficial to the community. Let's put it that way. I'm gonna be nice here. So you want to know, if there's gas stations up, can you get more fuel? If you ran out of fuel for your generator, can you do that stuff? Flood reports, areas of your town that are flooded. You want to know which areas are, which areas aren't. You want to be driving into something and, turn your car into a submarine. Damage reports. You can probably walk outside or look out your windows to see what the damage is in your immediate area, but you might want to see what other damage is around the locality where you live. And that's where you get, other hams and other various positions where they can see what's going on and can relay that information back to you. General info, just, hey, we've been here stuck for 3 days with no power. Does anybody out there want to talk? Just having a conversation. Family check-ins. You got family lives across town, and they're also hams, which, it's not a bad idea. You can check in on them if they didn't decide to shack up with you during the time when the storms or the emergency hit. Emergency services. You might want to see what's going on with emergency services. Are there any emergency services available? Where you can go get food supplies. Are there places out there, like, say, maybe you're out for a little bit longer, you ran out of your supplies, you did the right thing and supply as much as you could, but you ran out. So where can you go to get some disaster relief and find some food? Well, that's a good thing to find out on there. People will always have information on that. You might be able to pop into some of the shortwave stuff. Maybe Red Cross will get on there and say, hey, we got a shelter here somewhere that has food. You know, come by, fill up. We'll fill the back of your trunk with some food for your family, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, you want to know traffic conditions. You know, what's going on outside? Are people out on the roads again? Are there just tons of wrecks? Are there cars scattered all over the landscape? So that's all stuff to consider. And that's pretty much the information you're going to want to have in a situation like this. Last thing is here, helping out your neighbors. Not a bad idea. You should try to get to know your neighbors best you can. My neighbors are kind of weird. The people who live next door here never come out of their house, and when they do come out, they don't wave, say hi, nothing. It's like that. I don't know what they think I'm the devil or something. But get to know your neighbors if you have an opportunity to do so. You know, it's good to have extra people around. Hey, maybe they'll team up with you, and they got space in their place that you can store some food and stuff, as long as they'll steal from you. And maybe you guys can work together and have a little, have a block group of people that all work together in times of emergency and just band together and help each other out. Sometimes a kind word or helping hand will go a long way down the road. Helping people out, they'll remember these things. You know, the next time something goes on and you need help and you're in a situation where you need help, maybe they'll come out and help you. Also, it's good to, check in on the elderly and children that may need assistance. Children are always, having problems and issues, and especially during times like this when their normal lives, what they consider normal lives, are interrupted. It might be good to help them out, see if they need anything. Might just need somebody to talk to or somebody to throw a ball or just maybe get them involved in helping you with building something or doing something or rebuilding something, whatever. And, the elderly, they just need help, maybe a little bit of comforting words. So that is pretty much the end of my presentation for this. I know I didn't cover everything. It's really difficult for me to cover everything in one shot. I mean, there's so many aspects to this to go down. So many different pathways for preparedness. However, I do want to show you, if you go over here and look up survivalblog.com, this guy's been around for about since 2005. So about 16 years or so, something like that. He has a complete archive of blog posts. He puts up something once or twice a day. He puts up a blog post having something to do with preparedness or survival somewhere. I've read a lot of his books. He has a couple different books out there. One's called Patriots, Surviving the Coming Collapse. He's got another book out there called How to Survive the End of the World as We Know It. Now, he's taking it to a completely different extreme. I'm just talking about a freaking storm here, not EMPs and foreign armies invading the country and the whole world going to hell. All right. But he's got a lot of stuff on his site that's useful. If you go up here to the top where it says resources and click on this thing called list of lists, it'll instantly download an Excel spreadsheet, which I have right here. And this is an Excel spreadsheet that he's created over years of research and this and that and talking about it. And each one of these, you look down the bottom here, there are a bunch of little tiny other sheets based on different things you might need. So he has book lists, books you might want to read about survival, nuclear, biological, chemical warfare equipment. Again, like I said, this guy's taking things to a little bit of an extreme, but it's still good information to know. Communications monitoring, all stuff about communications things. This is where ham radio would probably fall in. Just kind of look at the stuff. He lists supplies in here, stuff you might want to think about. He has links to where you can buy stuff on there. If you're going off grid, he has stuff on farm animals, financial prep, firearms, firefighting, first aid for minor surgery, food preparation, food storage. I mean, this goes on and on, guys. There's a lot of stuff on this list you get. So you're free to download this thing, check it out, modify it, take out the stuff you don't need and add in the stuff you do. Maybe he didn't think of everything, but I think this is a good all-around resource for you to check out. And again, I'll put links to this directly down in the bottom of the description down here in case you don't remember survivalblog.com. But that's, it's a good resource to go check out. Okay, so I was also playing around with, what about alternative power? Well, I went on Amazon, and we're all familiar with, the little portable power packs. I've got I got a couple here that I keep on hand at all time. Always keep them charged. And these are good for short-term power supply. You got to recharge your phone, or you got to recharge something, or plug it in for a light, for a flashlight, whatever. They're great for that. They're not going to be great for long-term because you can't really do much unless you have power again to recharge them. If you missed Amazon Day or Prime Day, whatever they call it, they had a couple of these things on sale. This was actually on sale. It was only like $125, so you're just paying another $15 now than you were yesterday, right? Oh, I guess they got a coupon. So maybe you got to apply a coupon to that and save an additional $15. So maybe we'll go back down to like 125. This is a great little 167 watt hour battery. You can buy. They also, the Jackery brand also sells solar panels. Which, if we click on this, I bet you dollars to donuts that they have. No, I guess not. I was really hoping they would. They usually would pair this up with one of theirs. They have a solar panel pack you can purchase from them also. Yeah, like these down here. So they do sell solar panels. You can match up a solar panel with one of these little USB things here. So you'll have USB ports. You have your regular USBs. You'll have USB-C. Looks like you get you have input for your solar charger and a 12-volt DC. And I guess on the side here, you have a spot to plug in a 110 watt plug. They have other ones out there. This is just a cheaper solution, and it's something you might want to consider if you want to get something. This is supposed to be about, I think it's only about 5 pounds or something. It's supposed to be relatively small. They're pretty proud of their stuff, but a lot of people have recommended these, and they seem to be pretty good to use. And, consider that as an alternate power source. The only other thing I was going to show you on here, and again, I'll have the links to everything down below. The ARRL has their own section. If you want to learn about Aries, you can download the Aries manual right from their website, field resources manual. And there's a bunch of information on here and how you can get involved in that if you're interested in getting involved in Aries. Races, however, has their own website, usraces.org. And again, I haven't really gone through the whole site. They have stuff here. You can probably click on different little links. They'll take you to where you go get your training, go get your certifications, and what they're about, and have a little more information about that. ARRL also has information on that on their website as well. If I can find that link, I'll put it in there. But when I was searching for Races, this is what came up. And I figured, okay, well, they got the usraces.org. Why not use it? So anyway, let's go back to my main cam and wrap up. So we covered here briefly, just how to get prepared. And again, don't sit on your butts and just wait for something to happen and then be stuck in those lines while the other morons out there that wait till the last minute and don't prepare. There's no reason for that. Well, I can't say it isn't the old days, because back in the old days, your grandparents and great-grandparents stored food. They used to can their own food. I guarantee they did. So, it's a fairly new thing now for people to just rely solely upon technology, not take any personal responsibility, and then whine like a bunch of babies when they're in hell because they didn't bother to do a couple little things they could have done to prepare for these kind of emergencies. I'm not saying go out there and spend $10,000 and have 18 years worth of food in your house. You have to determine what you need based on your needs. Go and search things out. Find non-perishable stuff. Beans, rice, pasta, obviously paper goods, things like that. Toiletries, things like that. That's all non-perishable stuff. You can we have pasta still from 8 years ago in buckets that we're still pulling out and using and making food with. Tastes fine. So have little things. Think about the little things you wouldn't think, little creature comfort things. If you're big into chocolate, go get some chocolate and have that sitting standing by. Might not hold well in the heat, which is why I said hard candy earlier. Have ways of having water. Get some water purifiers. There's all kinds of stuff you can look up online. Use your free Google searches and go look this stuff up. There's multitude of YouTube channels and websites out there that show you about how to prepare. Now, some of them are going to be going for the whole zombie apocalypse, end of the world scenario, but maybe it's just, maybe there's a hurricane coming. Maybe you have, you're prone to an area that has tornadoes. What do you need for those things? Tornadoes generally don't last days, but the storm around it might be there for a few days. So think about what you need, what's going to fit your situation, tailor something, custom tailor something for you and your family to protect yourselves and ensure that you have what you need. Being unprepared in 2021 is stupid. If you're not prepared, here's your sign. All right. So I hope this helps out. If you guys have any other comments or additions to what I talked about, I'd love to hear about it. Throw it up on the Facebook group. We have a Ham Radio for Non-Techies Facebook group. Put it down here in the comments below the video here. I'd love to hear. I love reading the comments. So I do spend time. Every morning I spend about an hour reading and responding to every single comment that I get from people. So I try to give back and communicate with you guys because you're watching these videos from me. Again, if you're new here or if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. That'll help YouTube show my video to more people. And, I'm going to have a lot more videos coming out. This channel's here to stay, guys. I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff. I got a whole list of things coming up here for you guys. So consider subscribing and clicking on the little bell so you can be notified when I put up new videos. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you sitting around listening to me chew the fat for a little while and hope I wasn't boring the crap out of you too much. I know I was a little hard on things, but I've seen too many people freaking out. I see it around here. The people hit the stores, they pillage everything, they freak out about everything because they don't take the time to think a little bit ahead. We just entered hurricane season. You know what I'm doing right now? I'm buying hurricane season crap. I'm not waiting until one's in the Gulf of Mexico and get ready to hit us day after tomorrow and then go to the store and buying stuff because then I'm fighting the crowds. All right, so use your head, use common sense. I'd love to hear your comments on these things, what your thoughts are. And, if you got some ideas for things, throw it in the chat or go to the Facebook group. I really want to get people talking on there and get more people, keep it civil. Don't be an ass. But I want to get more people on the Facebook group talking back and forth and sharing ideas, whether it be about ham radio or some of the other topics we discuss on the channel. And we'll just go from there. Anyway, guys, my name is Scott. My call sign is KI5NPL. I appreciate you watching. This is Ham Radio for Non-Techies, and we are clear.